Alarming signs at Demonland. The microscope goes on to Brad Scott, and Dusty is back with a bang. But Kane Corns, Demons fans are pulling their hair out, and that's our big story to kickstart the round so far.
Yeah, it's been an atrocious start to the season, hasn't it? They're just, as Simon Goodwin said after the game, been scored against far too heavily. I just thought St Kilda, and all credit to them, this was the game plan they came with. We know that speed is their real weapon. The small forwards they've got there was always going to test out Melbourne's speed in defence, and their efficiency going inside 50 without the key defenders there for Melbourne. We're seeing their memory time and time again mark the footy inside 50. They took 13 of them and Melbourne had no answers. So they've just got so many areas they need to fix, Melbourne. It's not like one thing you can say, yep, if we can fix that, we'll be okay. But there's so many alarming trends in their game. And for a side that we all thought was going to be top four this year on the back of some amazing footy that they played last year, it's been a terrible start.
They're scoring 26 points less a game. They're conceding 24 points more a game than last year. So it's a 50-point swing. They bring in Jordan Lewis straight from the VFL. Does he deserve the right to come straight back in after what we'd seen for the start of the year? He had a 4-week hamstring. Should he have come straight back in this side?
Wouldn't have thought so. No, in fact, no, he shouldn't have, because the last game he played was a prelim final. It was probably the worst game I've seen Jordan Lewis play ever. And once again, you probably got what you thought you would get from Jordan. There was costly mistakes. There was a lack of intent and intensity. Clearly, he was exposed by the St Kilda small forwards, which makes his selection even more baffling, really, because Saints, as we said, their speed in the forward line is their strength. Lewis, not his, and it was almost like Melbourne couldn't hide him anywhere today, and they got what they got. So his career's at the crossroads. Wanted to highlight this one because have a look at the effort here from the Melbourne players. There's 4 Melbourne players. And there it is, the goal there to Gresham, just highlighted another pretty ordinary piece of play from Melbourne.
No Tom McDonald played today. Just the 2 goals in 5 games for him to start the year. No Jesse Hogan. Is that finally being exposed now with that trade and getting rid of Jesse?
Well, it's fascinating for me. I would have played McDonald down back today because they went with the one key tall defender in Frost, and as I said, 13 marks inside 50 the Saints took. So if there was ever going to be a time to shift McDonald back, he's kicked 2 goals for the year, as you said. He's struggled in the forward line. You can manufacture a forward line. You've got Wiedemann, you've got Melksham, you've got Petracca down there. Get some smalls in there. Put McDonald back, because today Melbourne just had no answers and St Kilda kept marking it. So I think it's time for McDonald to go back and try and get some momentum for his season, because, as you said, he's having no impact whatsoever.
How about these sets of figures to start the season for the Demons? In round 1, 5 goals on the trot against Port Adelaide, and it's just been an absolute mountain from there. The floodgates have opened.
Yeah, it's really alarming. I think the best sides guard goals with their life, and we saw that one from Gresham. You almost got to have that soccer goal mentality where you just do not want to concede a goal. You defend with your life. Melbourne clearly aren't doing that. It doesn't mean enough to them. You don't get 6 and 8 goals scored on you in quick time if it means enough to you. And right now, the Melbourne players, I think they want to check the stat sheets after the game and say we had 30 and we did okay. But as a team, as a collective, they're not buying in, and their defensive system and structure has broken down right throughout the year. So I'm not sure what changes Simon Goodwin's trying to make in the off-season, but whatever they were defensively and their team defence, clearly broken right now. And do they play finals from here? Probably not.
Probably not. 1 and 4 now. They play Richmond on Anzac Day Eve. How big is that game? And can you forecast what happens if they go 1 and 5?
No, well, 1 and 5 is pretty much done. Not too many teams would come back from there, barring Sydney, I think, a few years ago, 0 and 6. But and even if they did make it from here, massive question marks. I mean, the absence of Stephen May, who's let himself down in the off-season, so that's his fault, and he's got some responsibility with that. Lever, through no fault of his own, is out, so there's been 2 costly mistakes. But right now, they're too similar in the midfield. There's a lot of plotters in there, and there's a lack of speed. But not only that, there's a lack of effort, which is the most alarming thing for Simon Goodwin.
Talk about the Demons on Good Friday footy. North Melbourne given the marquee slot. It really felt like the Band-Aid was ripped off this team, and the Bombers just made them look really slow. Yeah,
we've got to talk about Essendon, because they were awesome. And the Bombers, after starting 0 and 2, are playing this style of footy, which we love. I think they're one of the most exciting teams when they get it going with Collingwood and GWS in the competition. But the thing with North Melbourne, they knew this was coming. I mean, everyone knows Essendon on Etihad Stadium, so dangerous. They try and change the angles, get the ball through the middle of the ground, and then isolate in your forward line, which is what they did. And North Melbourne did not do anything to slow that down.
Last year, they started the year on fire. They fell off and missed finals. Brad Scott at the 2018 Best and Fairest said he was looking to bribe journalists to write them off, to use that as motivation. He followed that up with this at the 2019 season launch.
You write North Melbourne off at your peril. So I say let them gloss over our list, let them underestimate us again, let them play down expectations on our team, let them call us outside chances, because that's what we thrive on.
They brought in 4 guys between the age of 25 and 28. Did they over-analyse this list? Did they think they were a lot better than they are?
Yes, I'm not sure there's been any club that has ever got their list this wrong in the off-season. So I think last year we were predicting the season that North are having now. So I don't think last year's performance, where they finished one game outside the 8 and won 12, did them any favours whatsoever, because they've thought, well, we've won 12, let's go and get some experienced players in that age bracket, as you said. Yep. So there you have it there. So where to from now? And that's done them no favours as well. You got to give them credit for making a prelim there and losing in 14 and 15. But as I said, last year has cost them because they thought, well, we're close. Let's go and get 4 guys who are B-grade players, probably at best in the AFL system, bar Polak, who has some attributes. They've got it wrong, and now what do they do? Because we're going to take a look at their young talent as well, and which young players coming through at North are you excited about? So North Melbourne, Cameron Joyce, Brad Scott and the hierarchy there have completely got how they estimated their list wrong. And there you see, there's the first picks in the past, Mitch.
9 years of those first-round picks. Can you identify one All-Australian potential out of these guys?
I think Davies Uniacke is going to be a very good AFL player. I really like him. Taron Thomas also has shown a bit. Apart from that, you're not getting too excited about any of those names there. Mackay's done a bit, but not going to be an All-Australian, as you say. So, as a North fan, I think you'd be not having a lot to look forward to. But not only that, North Melbourne have always prided themselves on having a crack. They have a dip regardless of talent. It's us against the world. And as you saw Brad Scott there, that was the message to him. But they're not doing that. They get beaten up around the ball in clearances, contested footy. They didn't tackle yesterday. So once again, like Melbourne, it's not a talent thing. It is for North, but it's more importantly an effort thing, and they're not showing up.
One man who has oodles of talent is Dustin Martin. He's our Saturday star at Marvel Stadium tonight. The Tigers way too good for Sydney. He was criticised before his 1-week suspension. He really returned to show the footy world what he's capable of.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a better player to watch in full flight than Dusty. It's just great to see him back to his best, and great to see Richmond back to their premiership best. We saw it last week against Port Adelaide. This is what we saw. Pressure on the ball carrier, turn it over, then inside 50 quickly. Look out, try to stop that scoring. But that goal there, the forward craft that he's got, unbelievable, Dustin Martin, and his ability to play in the midfield but then go forward and be equally as effective was on show. And I think the Tigers fans will be pretty happy with him back in full flight tonight.
In the nation's capital today, in Canberra, the Dockers, twice this year now they've scored 100 points. They beat North Melbourne convincingly in round 1. They did it again against the Giants and looked pretty sharp.
No, it's a great performance, and I think we're pretty quick to criticise Fremantle, aren't we, for their lack of scoring and their game style since Ross Lyon has been there. But today, it was like, where's this Fremantle been? We saw it in round 1 when they beat North Melbourne. They scored 141 points, but their ball movement today, they used it fast, they used it quick. There was some excitement. Good to see Matera kick 4. Their tall forwards marked it, including Taberner and Hogan kicked 3 goals. So, no, just a very, very solid performance, and just goes to show how even this comp is.
4 goals for Taberner. A watch on Phil Davis's ankle injury. It looked pretty nasty to finish that game, so let's see how he comes up for next week. Now, Kane, social media, you're always across it.
You are.
24 hours, the past 24 hours. Luke Hodge and Damien Barrett. Doesn't get much bigger than a spat between those two. And Mel Horsey, how about this one?
Yes, there's a lot to like here, Mitch. On Thursday night, Luke Hodge was interviewed from the bench during the game. Take a look at this.
Hodgie, a little bit of a scare through the camp. Was that a hammy or just a bit of cramp?
It's a cramp.
It's a cramp? Yeah. Collingwood seemed to just be getting on top around the contest. Do you need to mix anything up around the footy or change anything up structurally?
Not really. Just give way. They got a couple easy check goals.
Yeah, now following that one, AFL.com.au's own Damien Barrett has criticised Luke Hodge. He took aim at the Brisbane Lions star in his weekly sliding doors column for essentially mixing his media commitments with his footy commitments. And I tell you what, hasn't Luke Hodge fired back? He took to Twitter and called Damien Barrett an absolute knob and questioned whether it was indeed a paid gig. So this one got pretty fiery pretty publicly, and Hodge's former premiership teammate Xavier Ellis jumped in as well, maybe just to ease tensions, I think, a bit and have a laugh. He said, "This is not a fight you want to have. He once told me he would harm me. I now live in WA, so all the best with that." Guys, plenty going on here, but Kane, I wanted to ask your thoughts on the actual interview itself. We're always asking for more access to players. What did you make of the interview on the bench during the game?
Well, that interview there did add nothing, but I think they got Luke Hodge at a bad time. He had a cramp, he was clearly not focused on the interview. So that one in particular, I agree with Damo that didn't add anything to the broadcast. But what I did like was Brisbane were really open right throughout the broadcast. They interviewed Daniel Rich as he's walking down the race. I thought that was a nice change. Also, Bruce McAvaney interviewed Chris Fagan in the rooms before the game. So I appreciated and enjoyed the access, but on that Luke Hodge interview, not sure that added anything, and she got him at a bad time.
He's getting paid by Channel 7 last week. He was doing a game. Do you think that he's now trying to set up his career for footy by doing this, or is it simply just a thing to help him and help the Lions, because they've only got 2 free-to-air games this year?
No, I take him at his word that he's there to promote the Brisbane Footy Club, and it's unfortunate they performed like they did because, as you said, standalone game, free-to-air, massive audience, and they've got some goodwill about them, the footy that they've been playing. So well done to the Lions for doing that, and well done to Luke Hodge for putting up his hand. I wouldn't have done it as a player. I couldn't have thought of anything worse. But I thought it was worthwhile, and some people got something out of it, some hated it.
Thanks, Mel. We'll keep our eyes across social media to see if anything more like that continues to brew. Now, Kane, back to Friday and the power. They dismantled the Eagles, 7 goals, 5 of those through Jack Petrocelli for West Coast, and showed a new way to potentially beat the Eagles.
Absolutely stunning performance from Port Adelaide, and let's pay credit to Ken Hinkley and the coaching staff. So McGovern in the past has killed them, as has Hearn, as has Barras, because they continue to mark the footy. So Port Adelaide have said, well, we're going to go inside 50, and they went in 71 times. We're not going to kick the ball in the air. We're going to kick it along the ground so that the Eagles defenders cannot mark the footy, and they struggled. We're seeing clips here when the ball was on the ground, and yes, the conditions help with the wet, but the Eagles defenders couldn't handle the ball on the ground, and then Port Adelaide's swarming pressure, and they got goals out of that. We're seeing that one there from Willem Drew. There it is, Sam Gray. There's nothing pretty about that. That is not how you teach kids to play footy, to kick the ball on the ground. Darcy Byrne-Jones did the same. So I just thought it was a very disciplined performance. There's the captain, Ollie Wines. That was in the air, but it was messy, it was ugly. And there you have it. So Eagles didn't cope with it, and I'd expect a lot of other teams to do exactly the same to try and nullify the influence of McGovern and Barras and Hearn.
Look forward to that. Now, we love a bit of deja vu. We can't forget last year's grand final when it was Vardy over to Ryan and found Sheed. Now, this caught our eye from the game. How about this? Vardy doing exactly what he did and almost the same result.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's a good pick up from yourself. But, Ryan marked it in the grand final. That time he gets a free kick, plays on quickly, and nearly gets Dom Sheed in exactly the same position as the grand final. So, nice little bit of chemistry.
Eagles off, though. They lost the game pretty convincingly. Out to the rest of the round. Big game tomorrow for the Blues, looking for their first win of the season. Matthew Cruiser back for his first game.
Yeah, and Adelaide take on the Gold Coast. Boy, don't they need a win. Josh Jenkins has paid the price at selection. He played Sandford today. Didn't kick a goal, JJ, just the 11 disposals. So, probably not the form return that he wanted.
And Jaguar O'Meara back for the Hawks. They've dropped Jonathan Siegler for the game on Easter Monday. Now, last week's show, you said Tiger Woods couldn't win the Masters.
Did I?
It's in the vision at the back.
Well, prove it.
No, we don't need it. Waste our time doing that. But to one more thing for this week, no one is ever safe on the footy ground after seeing this. The son of Geelong legend Billy Brownless copping one as he's preparing to come back on the ground.
Yeah, you're having a rough day when that happens. I'll be seeing Bill tomorrow, so might find out if the young fella Oscar's okay.
Okay, hopefully he is. Thanks for that, Mel Horsey. Thanks, Kane.
Don't you eat too many Easter eggs.
No, I'll try and...
You've got a bad habit of stuffing your face with Easter eggs.
Out the back only today. Thanks for that, Kane. We'll see you same time, same place, right here on The Round So Far next week.